This story is about a young girl named Candace Newmaker. Candace's birth family is from North Carolina, and her mom was 18 years old when she had Candace. Candace's mom has had many kids over the years who have all been taken into the foster care system. There was one time where Candace was taken into care and then brought back for a short period of time, and she begged her mom not to let them take her again. Unfortunately, that didn't last. So that's where they think that Candace's kind of abandonment issues came from. Her birth mom decided to put her up for adoption for a better life. And that is when she was adopted by Candace Newmaker in 1996 when Candace was 7 years old. So Candace has already lived a life. She has memories. People like to adopt, I think, babies more so because it's like a fresh start. They don't have trauma. They haven't seen things. They still have a mind to mold. So I think adopting older kids is known to be a little harder. I guess Jean is soon going to find that out. So Candace started at a new school. She did the first few days there to tell the other kids, don't look at me, don't talk to me. But people say that's like normal. She literally just got adopted. She misses her mom. She misses her. Like, it's a normal thing to say in that type of a situation. She was sent to a good school. She did sports. She had pets. Initially, though, she was refusing to enter classrooms that had male teachers. But she did end up getting over that after a while, and she did end up making friends. But apparently she couldn't help the feeling of just not being wanted by her birth mom. She started getting unmanageable at home. She was abusing animals. She started fires. She was emotionally distant. The pediatrician said she was not a happy, normal kid. So this is a quote from Candace that is pretty sad. She told one of her friends, quote, "You're lucky you're with your family. Your mama loves you. Sometimes mamas don't want their children," end quote. She was like 10 years old when she said that. Like, how sad is that? Before the age of 10, she was on antidepressants, anti-anxieties, and amphetamines. None of them worked, apparently. After some research, Jean finds attachment disorder and goes to a workshop to learn more. After that workshop, she went to, not directly after, but she went to a conference for the Association for the Treatment and Training in the Attachment of Children, where she met therapist Bill Cobble. And without even meeting Candace or talking to Candace on the phone or anything, just by going off of what Jean said, he diagnosed Candace with a fairly severe attachment disorder. He recommended a therapist in Colorado who was apparently making progress with kids with this disorder using unique rebirthing techniques. This woman was, I don't know this name. Her name was Connell Watkins. I don't know if it's Connell or Connell, but I'm going to say Connell. Keep in mind that Connell has no license and has never legally practiced as a therapist before, okay? I'm going to tell you now what these unique rebirthing techniques are. So this is a therapy called rebirthing. They believe that, when I say they, it's like I think they think they're therapists, but they're not actually therapists, something. Well, I know these people in this story were not therapists, but they like to call themselves therapists. So these people believe that the way you were born affects pretty much how your life is going to end up. So, for example, if you had an induced birth, you probably are feeling like you're being controlled by people around you. If you had a difficult labor, like if you were the baby and your mom had a difficult labor, you don't like confrontation. If you had a C-section, you're tactile. Now, rebirthing is the new birth experience, which solves all of your problems. So a rebirthing counselor said that it's an advanced breathing exercise that reaches the parts of your body that regular breathing doesn't. So that's, I guess, how this practice works. No psychiatrist or medical professional believes in this practice or believes that this helps in any way. And when this practice first started, it became popular in the 70s. Doctors started the practice as a breathing exercise that was only supposed to last 15 minutes. Only 15 minutes, okay? Keep that in mind. Why did I say mind? Keep that in mind. They say that the rebirthing therapy or technique or whatever helps people with attachment disorder. So here are some of the symptoms of attachment disorder. It usually develops in childhood, okay? So lying, poor impulse control, stealing, unable to make eye contact, can develop from, I wrote it weird. I don't know how to say it. It can develop from your parents not have been bong. Your parents have not been. Your parents have not been. Your parents have not been. You know what I'm trying to say. Your parents have not been there properly for you. They were not there.
Your parents have not. Okay, your parents have not been there for you.
Your parents weren't there for you.
Answer.
They weren't there. They were unreliable parents. That's what I'm trying to say. It could also be from having emotional distant parents. It affects the ability to form and maintain relationships. So there is actually an episode on Bob's Burgers where Louise and Linda go to a rebirthing seminar. So it's season 3, episode 10. I made sure to get that episode for you guys so you know what it is. So for attachment disorder, the only known thing that can help it is not even meds. It's literally CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. Interpersonal therapy and family therapy can also help. So this is not proven anywhere. I think Jean was misguided a little bit. When Jean met with Watkins, she kind of explained what was going to go down. So therapy involves restrictive movement and forcing the child to physically surrender to parent or caregiver. So they're laid on the lap of the parent with the arms pinned down until they submit. And this part is called hold therapy. I just even just that one part, in what world is that going to make you love your mom? You're 10 years old being forced to lay on her lap while people just hold your arms down. I'm not going to be like, ma, at the end of that. Okay, so here we are. Jean signed a contract, so it was $7,000 for a 2-week rebirthing therapy. Therapy was not at a doctor's office, not at a rented out banquet hall. It was at the assistant of Watkins' house. Just come into my house, why? Anyways, but okay, no red flags there apparently. So the therapy started April 10th. 3 other adults were there. No one had any medical training. Just so you guys know, Jean is a licensed nurse. So Jean is the only one here who has any sort of medical training. Starting from day 1, it started with hours of holding sessions. So hours of being forced to lay on her mom's lap while these men held her arms down. Grown men, she's a 10-year-old girl, held her arms down until she physically had to submit. Claustrophobia is taking over for me right there. The reason that they know all of this stuff is because every minute of this thing was filmed. So that's why they know all of these details. So her head was violently shaken 309 times. She was screamed at while adult men sat on her legs. Jean laid down on Candace for over 40 minutes and licked her face over 20 times. I'm not loving my mom after that, so I'm not sure what the fuck they're thinking about. They cut Candace's hair. They made her do, you know those scissor exercises where you're like that and your legs do the scissors like that for your abs? They made her do that until she was like physically exhausted. After 1 week of no progress, she was put back on her antidepressants because prior to this, they had taken her off of it to get her ready for this. Well, now they are on to compression therapy. And what this is they tightly wrap Candace in sheets. They leave her head exposed. They put a bunch of couch cushions on top of her to make it more heavy. And they did that for 3 hours while she lay on the floor like that. And then she had to crawl into her mom's lap and be hand fed by her mom. It's just the fact that she's like adopted too. And she was only adopted like a few years ago. So to me, it's like, you're losing respect. Like, why would she respect you? If I was Candace, I wouldn't be respecting Jean after this. Like, I would think she's like a bitch. And also, this is like torture. I don't know what the fuck this is. And here we go to the final stages of therapy. So this is the reborn part. So this is difficult, and you will have to fight to be reborn. And that is what Watkins tells Candace many times. So if you don't want to get out enough, you will die. This is what this adult woman is saying to this frightened ass 10-year-old. Oh, and if you don't get out and you die, your mom will also die. So let's carry that on our shoulders also for a little bit there. 9:44 a.m. They got Candace to be in the fetal position. They wrapped her tightly in sheets, did the whole cushions on top of her. Those other 3 people, one of them were holding her feet down, the other people were kneeling on her chest, and someone was holding her knees down. And another person was holding bed sheets tightly around her head. So her head was not exposed this time. It was in the bed sheets. 4 adults began to push down on Candace. Those 4 adults weighed 673 pounds. Candace weighed 70 pounds. 10 minutes later, Candace says, I can't do it. I can't do it. I can't breathe. I can't breathe. 1 minute later, she says, I'm going to die. Watkins reminded her this is hard and she has to fight for it. Candace kept asking for help, and this is a quote. Please stop pushing. I can't breathe. Okay, I'm dying. Sorry. This is a quote from Watkins after Candace said that. You want to die? Okay, then die. Go ahead. Die right now. So they were just doing that back and forth for a bit. Jean was asked to leave the room because obviously she was getting a little uncomfortable. And Watkins pretty much told her, oh, kids do this all the time to get out of this. Yeah, I bet they fucking would do that to get out of that. I think from what I've heard, Watkins tries to sound all like high and mighty, being like, oh, the kids do this all the time, as if she's done this so many times. I think Candace was only her 4th, if not her 4th, her 5th person she had done this on. So I don't know where she's getting her data from, but it's incorrect. Actually, no, it's probably correct because I'm sure all of them did scream like this because I don't know what child likes to be suffocated and licked by their mom. So after 20 minutes, Candace said, I have to throw up and I have to go number 2. Watkins called her a quitter multiple times. There was 10 minutes of silence, but they kept pushing. After a little bit of more silence, Candace said, quote, let's talk to the twerp. They unwrapped her and Candace was lying there in her vomit, completely still. Watkins, being the dumbass that she is, thought that Candace was just sleeping, but Jean rushed in and, being the only medical professional there, knew that Candace was not just sleeping because she was blue and not breathing. So Jean started doing CPR and Watkins called 911. Paramedics said that she was unconscious for quite some time. There was vomit, blood, she was cold, she had no heartbeat, she had fixed pupils, which I googled because I didn't know what that meant. So the fixed pupils means they don't dilate or get smaller or whatever when they flash like a flashlight in it or other things to stimulate the pupils. It's just fixed. She was airlifted to the hospital, but she never regained consciousness. The next day at 9 a.m., she was pronounced brain dead. So the actual cause of her death was brain stem herniation and cerebral edema, which means swelling in the brain, and that was the result of asphyxiation. So pretty much when they, I'm sure you guys can conclude this, but when they put the sheets over her head, she was suffocating. And when they were pushing down on her chest, she was suffocating. So she wasn't lying when she told you fucking idiots she couldn't breathe. So when Jean actually went back, she actually kept Candace's death a secret, the reason. She just said it was like natural causes. But then once the Watkins and the other adults got arrested, it started making the news and people eventually found out. Pediatrician said Candace was no different than any of the other kids who had been through similar traumatic situations, and he kind of just wished that Jean had given Candace a little more time because it had only been 3 years since the adoption. The trial for Watkins, those other adults, and Jean began a year later, and they were charged for reckless child abuse resulting in death. Watkins was charged with 3 more things: unlawful practicing of psychotherapy, obtaining signature by deception, and criminal impersonation. The defense's argument was that Candace may have had a heart defect which caused her to suffocate and made her heart stop. Treatment that they were giving to Candace was a violation of professional code of ethics and was permissible experimentation. So Jean got 400 hours of community service and couldn't work with kids for 4 years. Watkins and 1 other of the adults got 16 years in prison. The other 2 adults got 10 years probation and 1,000 hours of community service. So that is the story of Candace Newmaker. My thoughts are that I genuinely do think that Jean was trying to help her. I don't think Jean would have knew that she was gonna die, obviously, but I think that she probably should have stopped the treatment while it was going on. Especially being a medical professional herself, I feel like she should have known something was kind of weird, but whatever, I don't know. That's just what I think. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think she should have got jail time? Or do you think she's just a mom who lost her daughter and it's a tragedy for her too? Let me know.